What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my DraftKings Showdown breakdown for Thursday Night Football, Chargers and Raiders. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. We're thinking probably in the 6 to 7 p.m. range. Finally, let me know in the comments section, who are your favorite options at captain and at utility for tonight's slate? The big stuff. 140.4. That's the average fantasy points in the optimal winning lineup. $49,300. That's the median salary used in those optimals. 2.9 Chargers. 3.1 Raiders. So pretty even split in the makeup of the lineups. Raiders 3-point favorites at home with a 54-point game total. Now, it is time to dive into the captains. Now, if I'm being honest, this might be the most difficult captain selections I've seen on any of these showdown slates this year. We have 7 guys between 8 and 15% likelihood of being in the captain spot, and all of them are pretty similar to their projected ownership right now. I'm going to go in order, but there's not a ton separating these guys, so be clear. You can go many different directions today. Justin Herbert is at the top, 14.8% of the time. You're going to pay $17,700 for that captain spot, however. I like it, but 85% of the time it's somebody else. Austin Eckler, $15,600, shows up 13% of the time. That is the second highest likelihood at the captain spot. After that, you're going to go to Derek Carr, Keenan Allen. Here's the one that I like the most, so I want to put this one out there. 10% of the time, this is the 5th highest mark, but he's outpacing his public ownership. $11,100 for Nelson Agholor. That one's gonna be a little bit more off the beaten path. He's like 8th or 9th in ownership, but Nelson Agholor at 10% is the guy that I think can give you a little bit of leverage over top of the field. You can go to Darren Waller or Josh Jacobs, but they're actually a little bit behind Agholor. The price tag, that 11-1 at captain, is saving him enough money that it really opens you up on the utility side. So, Herbert, Allen, Eckler, Carr, Waller, Jacobs, Agholor. Those are really the only options as far as I'm concerned. Agholor would be the guy that I'm trying to get over on if I'm in a larger field GPP. If I'm in smaller stuff, I'd be more focused on going to Justin Herbert or going potentially to Austin Eckler at 15.6. Now, as we go to the utility spot, we've got 3 guys that show up north of 40%. Justin Herbert is at the top, 46.6% of the time. You're paying $11,800. He's the best option in terms of getting a guy in your optimal lineup. Ownership is already there. It's not exactly exciting. Other 2 guys would be Carr and Waller. Carr at 10K, Waller at 9,400. They're both right on that 40% number. I prefer Waller a lot because his ownership is coming in quite a bit lower than Derek Carr's. After that, we've got this other mess of all these guys at the top. Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Nelson Agholor. All these guys are showing up in like the mid-ish 30s, so like around 35% of the time. Really difficult to separate all these guys. They're all getting similar ownership. I prefer Waller and Agholor just relative to public ownership right now. We work our way down into a tier that I'm rarely at. Adam and I talked about this in our last NFL Live Before Lock show, where we don't really end up in this like 4 to 6K range, but today I think is a little bit different. We've got Hunter Henry, 5,800, shows up in the optimal 32% of the time. Hunter Renfrow, 4,800, 32% of the time. Michael Badgley, 3,800, 32% of the time. All 3 of these guys showing up in about 1/3 of the lineups. You're probably going to need to pick between that trio. One of those guys is likely to show up in that spot. You can go to someone like Daniel Carlson if you want, 3,600. I prefer Badgley. They're right next to each other. The $200 isn't making a huge difference. And then it kind of gets murky. Like Raiders D, 13% of the time, they're already owned like that. Jalen Guyton, 11% of the time, he's kind of already owned like that. Devontae Booker, $1,800, shows up in the optimal 18% of the time. I like it. Not as much ownership right now, so that's kind of exciting, but still, just 18% of the time. You can pay down for Jalen Richard. You can pay down for Bryan Edwards. All these guys are like 10%ers. That's why you see the median salary be $49,300. You can kind of make anything work. There are options from the top to the bottom. If you go to someone like Justin Herbert in the captain spot, there are plenty of options to save salary. Raiders D, Jalen Guyton, Booker, Richard, Bryan Edwards. I mean, you can pick and mix and match all sorts of different guys at different salary tiers. It is so spread out tonight. It's going to be really difficult to find value. I think it'll be easier to work through fades than plays. So let's touch on those fades. Now, there's nobody like ultra obvious at the captain spot to fade. I would like to be a little bit lighter on Justin Herbert, even though he is the top option. Keenan Allen, probably my least favorite captain, still shows up 11% of the time. Public ownership a little bit higher than that. I think you can find the value elsewhere. At the utility spot, it's sort of the same scenario. It's not that I don't like Keenan Allen. You should absolutely be rostering him. He's one of the more frequent guys in the optimal. However, I think his ownership is a bit higher than it should be. Don't be afraid to be a little bit lighter. Think about what that does. If you don't want Keenan Allen, maybe you do want Austin Eckler. Maybe you want Mike Williams or Hunter Henry. You want to go a different direction, because I think those guys, I think Hunter Henry in particular, going well underrepresented, as is Hunter Renfrow. It's a day of hunters, evidently. One of the main fades that I like, though, Tyron Johnson. He's 5K, projected for about 12% ownership at the time that I'm recording this, 7:47 a.m. Eastern time. I don't think he should be anywhere near that. If that ownership is anywhere over 10%, just avoid him. I think Mike Williams going a little bit overowned, Chargers D going a bit overowned. I'm going to stay out of the Kalen Ballage, Justin Jackson area. Both of those guys, in my opinion, going a bit overowned. I think by dodging some of those bullets, you'll be able to create a better, more efficient lineup. A lot of the guys that I like are already properly owned, so fading guys will be easier for me than diving in and loading up on anyone in particular. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. That is my DraftKings Showdown breakdown. Week 15, Thursday Night Football, Chargers and Raiders. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, notification bell. You guys know the drill. We want to get to 50,000 subscribers. We can only do that if you hit that subscribe button. But the big one for me, follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you can't get the updates to these sim results. That's the best part of all of this. You want to know what the up-to-date information is right before lock. Only way you can get it is at Josh Engleman. Finally, let me know in the comments, favorite captain, favorite utility plays. Look around. There should be a FanDuel link around here somewhere. You don't want to miss the FanDuel content as well. If you're playing on both sites, you get the best of both worlds, 2 videos. But if I hold up it like this, that means 4. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I'm out of stuff to say. Good luck tonight. I'll talk to you again the next time we have Showdown content.